Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my next Focus On video. This time, the Dragons of the Isle of Scaly. Roar! Upon landing on the Isle of Scaly, the ponies quickly encounter the dragons and... Whoa! The dragons have sure changed a lot since the last time we've seen them. So... roar! Just in general, that the dragons are a lot, in some ways, bigger than we saw them in Friendship is Magic. Although there were some actually very large dragons in Friendship is Magic. I mean, when you look at Spike and Sparky, you think the dragons are, a lot smaller than they really are. But in Make Your Mark Chapter 6, they were very successful at communicating the size and mass differences between the ponies and the dragons. When the dragons are landing, there's a very loud and very satisfying thump when they land, and the camera is actually shaking through the force of the dragon landing. Both of those things are really communicating that the dragons are creatures of size and mass, and definitely to a pony is kind of intimidating, so ugh. And I think these designs are a lot closer to what I think most people think of like a dragon really should look like, so overall I really like that. So another big thing in general is that these dragons have cutie marks? Whoa, when did that happen? Especially since all the new dragon characters have a cutie mark, but Spike doesn't. So, what does that mean? Could this be that this was something that somehow developed during the quote-unquote next generation of dragons? How did these dragons get a cutie mark? Why do they have cutie marks? Are they the same as pony cutie marks, or do they operate differently? We didn't really get to see them that much, but they appear to all glow the same color, and it doesn't seem like when they're glowing that they're representing, their sparkle, if you will. We see that Fountain and Tumble's cutie marks are basically glowing after hearing Sunny's amazing hopeful speech. But Blaze, who's still kind of unsure about, should we join the ponies or not, hers is not glowing yet. Her cutie mark starts to glow when Spike basically says that, I'm in, and Blaze, being the loyal second-in-command dragon that I think that she is, says, don't you mean we're in? And at that moment, that's when her cutie mark glows. So maybe the cutie marks glowing here doesn't necessarily represent their own, special, sparkle. Maybe it represents almost the tribe's sparkle, that when they're all, unified and working together, that maybe that's when they glow. So so if that's true, I kind of like that idea, and I look forward to learning more about these cutie marks and seeing, what they represent and how they work. An interesting question in itself is exactly how are these dragons all related to each other? I think in short that I think Spike is the eldest, Blaze, Fountain, Tumble, Jade, and Lava are probably all around the same age, which leaves Leaf and Lux, which honestly to me, they kind of feel younger than the other dragons. They almost kind of feel like kids that have just become adults. But in Make Your Mark, most of the dragon characters look the same, so it's kind of difficult to tell which dragon is older than the other. It'll be interesting to see, how or if these dragon characters are related to each other, so we didn't get to spend a lot of time with these dragons, and we didn't really get to learn a lot about their characters, but I still want to talk about each of the dragon characters kind of in general, just a little bit, and hopefully we'll see what we can see, I guess. Dragon Lord Spike! Whoa! Oh my gosh! It's Spike from Friendship is Magic! Roar! And to say that Spike has grown up is an understatement, but good for you, Spike! Roar! Spike has changed physically and emotionally a lot since the last time we've seen him. It's an interesting question as to why, but I'm gonna go with the real world answer of, they decided to change all the dragons' designs, and I'm okay with that, so. But in any case, it is surprising to see Spike be so much bigger than all the other dragon characters, and it's also surprising that he became the Dragon Lord. Because when Spike was a baby, he actually was the Dragon Lord, but he turned it down because obviously he would have had to have left the ponies, and that would have been bad. It's also interesting as to exactly how and why did that happen, but I really do like Spike as Dragon Lord, and as an adult in some ways. There's almost these two sides to Spike now. There's the first side is almost the Dragon Lord, like adult side, but that like almost child character side is still there, and he still has these moments of like fun, almost immaturity, but I like those moments. There's nothing that says that just because you're a good leader doesn't mean you have to be serious all the time. There's times where you could just be fun. He can still be a great leader, but he didn't have to get rid of, you know, in some ways what made Spike Spike, so I like that. So and I actually do think that Spike is actually a pretty good leader, that I think he's trying to listen to all the dragons, but at the same time, there's moments where he's actually pulling rank. It's, I am the Dragon Lord, and I will decide, is essentially what Spike is saying, and I like that. At the end of the day, he's the Dragon Lord. What he says goes, and he's not afraid to go down that road, and as a leader, sometimes, yeah, you gotta do that. But at the same time, I do think it's almost the point of that scene was to, you know, listen to all the other dragons and, you know, hear what they have to say about it, as of course any good leader should. So, Blaze, the loyal second in command. I really like her. I think that she's definitely the more serious of all the dragon characters. She definitely feels like the loyal second in command. It's like, yes sir, no sir, right away sir kind of character. You know, she's not only the second in command, but she's probably also the second oldest of the characters, because that's the way that she kind of feels. When Spike's not around, she's in charge, because not only is she the eldest, but she's also the most mature, the more sensible, and all those sorts of things. And you know, do we really want to trust these ponies? We don't really know anything about them. Which is honestly, in some ways, the correct position to take. But at the same time, and I might be reading a little bit too much into this, that moment when Fountain says, so we should just give up and, you know, let them capture our friends, let evil win? She's like, well, maybe? Because she's the second in command, she's expecting, you know, Spike to, in some ways, you know, decide this for her. At the same time, it could just be, this is hard. She's struggling with this, and she's, you know, losing hope in the situation. You know what? It's over. Let's just give up. And Fountain saying, no, we shouldn't. So it's like, well, you're right. I don't know what I should do now, so... But the good news is for her is, as the loyal second in command, she will follow Spike wherever he goes. Whatever Spike decides, she will follow. And once Spike makes that decision to stand with the ponies, she's more than willing to not only stand with Spike, but with those ponies, because wherever you lead Spike, I will follow. And as a royal guard, I really appreciate that. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. So... And since Blaze is basically the second in command to Spike, I think that they have probably a very unique relationship, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes, if anywhere, but in either case, I look forward to seeing more. So, now on to Fountain. I really like Fountain, because it does feel like Blaze and Fountain are kind of maybe close to one another. Maybe they're related to each other. But I like Fountain. There's just something about her voice. Do you really think we can save the Isle of Scaly? Aww. And Fountain has done time. Because she was chained up in a dungeon. No! I'm sure it was totally unjustified though, so how and why did that happen, and in what dungeon was she chained up in? So that's on the list of things that I hope we get to learn about more in the future. It's kind of also interesting that her fire, according to them, sounds like, oh, she can spray and bend water, which means that she has anti-fire because she basically breathes water, so so that's quite an ironic choice for a dragon, but it'll be interesting to see how that works, so but yeah, I like Fountain in that she has in some ways a more kind of practical kind of attitude. One of her first lines is to go up to Pip and say, hello, I'm Fountain, what are you doing? She's just curious. She wants to know, who is this pony and what is she doing with this strange unknown device that Pip is holding? What is a phone? What? Oh, why? Oh, did I say something wrong? Oh, poor Fountain. As we see later on that, you know, when Blaze basically says it's like it's already over, she says to her that, so we should just give up, Blaze, abandon our friends, let evil win? She's being very practical in that. It's like, well, yeah, I know that things are bad, but what are we supposed to do? Just give up? I really like Fountain. She's got some good lines, and she almost has what I'm gonna call practical maturity going on. And overall, I like her, and I look forward to learning more. So, roar. And now on to Tumble, who in Make Your Mark looks pretty similar to the other dragons, but is actually pretty different from the other dragons in Tell Your Tale. So, he kind of feels sort of the similar age to Blaze and Fountain, because he feels a little bit more mature, and in fact at one point he's even, be nice, Leaf, they brought presents. This kind of feels sort of like maybe elder brother, kind of like, come on little brother, don't be that way kind of a thing. How these dragons are all related to each other is anyone's guess at this point, but I mean, other than that, we didn't really get to see his personality too much. Also, his dragon magic doesn't make any sense to me. He can make stuff tumble? Well, I'll be interested to see how that works. But he seems like a good guy. He seems fairly mature, and I hope we get to learn more about him in the future. So, roar. So now on to Jade and Lava, because in Make Your Mark, they pretty much didn't really have lines per se. I mean, Lava doesn't have a single line in Make Your Mark at all, and Jade's lines were either under the influence of an evil supervillain, or were basically just to say, hey, Opaline, we're not friends. Just wanted to clear that up. And we're so sorry for falling under the influence of a supervillain. Please forgive us. In Tell Your Tale, Lava has quite a few lines, actually, but didn't really get to learn too much about his personality. Other than I think he might feel a little bit less mature than the other dragon characters. It's like, Nightmare Knight? Ugh, give me a break. This is way better. Feels a little bit more on the younger side, but you never know. But in any case, I do look forward to learning more about these characters in the future, because we didn't really get to learn about any of them here, but I still like these characters, so now on to Leaf and Lux. They feel like the youngsters, almost like the teenagers or young adults that have just become adults. Even like Leaf's voice, it's like, you made this? I love it! Yay! Oh, it's almost like high-pitched, young, teenage voice kind of thing. Leaf is in some ways being kind of quote-unquote immature. Are they all the same? I want a good one. Ugh. Tumble actually has to almost in some ways call him out. It's like, no, be nice, Leaf. They brought presents. I still like Leaf and Lux. They're kind of fun. I actually like that moment where Lux is actually, you know, flying over Leaf and like bops him on the head and takes like his bracelet. That was just funny and amusing, and it does feel like Lux is definitely almost that young, playful kind of personality. There was a moment where Lux actually flies on top of Blaze while Blaze is like talking, and Blaze has to like push her off and be like, ugh. She definitely has this friendly, almost happy, playful kind of attitude. And Leaf appears to not be so happy and playful, but appears to be a good guy, but maybe he complains a little bit too much about stuff. At the same time, he is kind of a bit of a jokester. At one point he says, because we love making jokes while others do work. Oh, as a computer programmer, stay away from me. I hate it when people try to talk to me while I'm doing work. What was that? No, not now. I'm recording. And his other line is, oh, we're not trying to eavesdrop. We were actively doing it. Oh. Yeah, these two would make terrible spies. But they're just so much fun together, though. So, I like these two characters, and I look forward to learning more. So overall, I don't think we got to learn a lot about the new dragons, but we did get introduced a lot. That we got introduced to their new design, their cutie marks. We got to learn a little bit about them, but we clearly have a long way to go before we get to know these characters very well. But what we did see, I like, because clearly these dragons have a range of personalities, from the serious, you know, I'm in charge or second in command kind of characters, almost down to the young, playful, playful, youngster kind of characters. So I hope we get to see these characters a lot more in the future, so we get to learn a lot more about them, and I just love these characters. They're just so much fun, and I look forward to seeing more. So, roar! So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong, and pony on. Blue Star out.